Hello, this is Matt from XL Pro Tech, and today I'm going to be taking you through the keyboard replacement on a MacBook Air. And the model number is an Alpha, A for Alpha 1466. Yep, that's right. So yeah, as you can see, I've already started on this one. I've basically taken out all the screws, taken away most of everything that needs to be taken away. Just because I've already tested it with another keyboard that I had here. I've basically had an American keyboard. The person wants it to be a UK one, so I'm going to be taking away all of the old keyboard, putting in a new one, and hopefully that will work. So as you can probably see as well, I've changed camera for this one again. I've changed it back to the webcam for now. I do actually think it gives a bit of a sharper image. It's just a bit blurry when if I make any large sort of movements, it's a bit blurry. But anyway, this should do for now. Obviously I've been having problems on the last stream with the other camera. But yeah, so let's get to work. Obviously first thing to do is take out the power cable. Once you've taken out the power cable, you can get rid of this part of the board here. That connector there as well, just underneath, hiding underneath there, the power connector. As you can see, the board is all loose anyway, so we can just take that out. And also the LCD connector up here. Just flick that up, be careful, because there are components around about here, just underneath this flap of material. Take that out. And what we also want to do, well, what I might as well do is just take out the rest of the board here. Oh, there is a speaker cable, just that bit there. Take that out as well. And I've also kept the trackpad connected there, which I do need to take out as well. And let's take out the fan there. I'm going to take the board up and out. Just flick that up for the fan, take that out, put it to one side. And yeah, I'm just going to lift the board up because that's got to be the easiest way to do this one with these. And just flick these ribbon cables out, and we are free. Put your board somewhere else. Obviously this isn't for the faint of heart. You are going to have to take everything out of the bottom of here pretty much to get to the keyboard. Okay, so next job to do, we need to take out the battery as well, which is held in by a number of screws. One there, one there, one in the middle, one there, which I've already taken out. So you will notice that the keyboard is actually built into this little trackpad bit here. So that's the ribbon cable for the keyboard. We take that out of here, flick that bit up there, and remove it. And so the next part of this is taking these speakers out here. They are glued down. Can be a bit tricky to get off. Beware, the plastic on these are fairly fragile. What you probably want to do is get a plectrum or something similar and just work your way around it. Get a bit of a grip underneath it and work your way around with a plectrum. And make sure that you're not pressing too hard. Because you've obviously got your screen under here. Screens on these are very fragile. So make sure you're not making any putting any pressure on the screen on the bottom of this. So there we go, just easing it out gently using a plectrum. So that we can get, there we go, that's one side out. Obviously this was, this might have been held down with a screw, I can't really remember. It was a couple of days ago that I removed the screws and everything. Again, let's do it on this side here. Again, same procedure. Just get your plectrum in and start whittling it away while applying a bit of pressure just to lift it up a bit. This one doesn't seem to be held down as badly as the other one, as much. Oh. There we go. And this speaker is actually connected up here, so we do need to take that out on that board there. We're all loose there. Cool. That is the right hand speaker out. Next thing to do, we need to take this this board here out as well. So we've just got a screw in there to take out, and that board should just come away. Apart from, there is a little connector on there. Just bear with me a second. Right, I'm back. They want me to turn the water off. So yeah, as I was saying, there is something connected in here which we need to take off. So just that little flip catch there, flip that up and disconnect it, that little ribbon cable there. And we've also got something on the back connected here. Oh, it's just that cable there running through there. So that's your DC inboard taken care of. Right, now is the part where we need to be quite careful. What we need to do with this is a backlight sheet here, and what we want to do, we want to take this off without sort of ripping it really. I've no idea if this backlight sheet actually works because of the, but if your backlight works and your keyboard doesn't, let's try and keep this in one piece. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off on a corner. This rips really easily. Again, plectrums are advised or something similar. I wouldn't advise a metal tool to do this. Let's just work our way around, unpeeling it slowly and gently, just in case it does work. If you've already bought one with if you already bought a replacement keyboard with your backlight sheets attached, you don't need to be particularly careful on this one. You could just go hell for leather. What we want to do as well, just before we peel all of this off, we're going to take this cable off here, this one that runs to the trackpad. Just peel it gently. You can put it, I'm going to take this out and put it to one side, to be fair. That's going to be the easiest thing, instead of having it flapping around, making sure that I'm not damaging that cable while I'm doing this job. Okay, so we're going to go for this bottom edge here. We're going to take it apart. Just slowly edging our way. As I say, this rips really easily. Just bear with me for 2 seconds. Right, back to it. So yeah, just lifting this up, it looks as if it's received a bit of liquid damage, which would explain why the keyboard isn't working anymore. So yeah, just there I've managed to rip it already. It's as I say, very fragile. If you do get it wrong, it is going to rip. So just slow and steady around this bit. I'd always recommend when purchasing these to get one with another backlight sheet if you haven't done this before, just because it is difficult to get this off in one piece without ripping it. Again, I've made a mistake there, I've ripped it there. Luckily I've purchased one with another backlight sheet, but I thought I'd show you the process of trying to get this off in one piece. It's not fun, and you will probably end up ripping it in some places. But yeah, if you can get it off in one, good for you. If you do make small rips in it, don't particularly panic. There is only the part where it's connected, you know, it's not connected across all of it, but so it doesn't matter in that respect. And just be careful, because you do have little parts of ribbon cables hanging around, so make sure that you're I'm just going to rip this off now because I know I've got a backlight sheet anyway. It's peeing me off, to be fair. Can't be bothered. So yeah, just be careful, because you do have ribbon cables hanging around, so make sure that you're not getting those when you are peeling this back sheet off. And I've actually managed to do quite a good job just peeling it. So there are a number of layers to this sheet, this backlight sheet, and yeah, it's pretty obvious that there's been some liquid spill in here. So here is the absolutely fun part. There are loads and loads of screws all the way around this laptop, and the fun part is now that we have to take all those screws out to replace this keyboard, to get this keyboard out. Also holding down this keyboard are some metal rivets, which we will come to in a minute. Basically, these screws run around all the way around the outside. The metal rivets are generally in the middle. What you should have also done with this laptop is purchase a few of these screws, a bag of these screws, because when the rivets come out, you can normally put some of these screws back into the central parts just to hold it steady. They'll be advertised on eBay, Alibaba, places like that, AliExpress, just as bags of screws for keyboards, MacBook keyboard screws. They're all the same difference, same thing. Magnet on the screwdriver isn't performing particularly well. I need to remagnetize it. Let's just see if we can hook up another magnet with it. you have any spare hard drives laying around and you need a magnet, just disassemble them, nick the magnets out of them. This is what I have hanging around, basically to use on screwdrivers, because after a while they do just lose the magnetism. I've got a magnetizer, but sometimes it's just useful to have a magnet on the end of the screwdriver. I've also got some circular ones as well that I'm not sure where I actually got them from, and they just sort of hook up over the screwdriver, but they're currently in use, holding screws for other repairs. So this is a bit of a tedious job, just as I say, work your way around them. There's no fast way to do this. It is all just tedious unscrewing. So yeah, all in all for this job, give yourself a good hour or so to complete it, and charge appropriately for the customer, because it is a bit of a ball ache of a job. You may even need a bit longer than an hour if this is the first time you've done it. And as I say, there really aren't particularly any shortcuts on this job. It's not really the part that costs the most on this, it's the labour intensity. And making sure it's done right as well. Because of the when we get to the final stages and we're putting the backlight sheet back on, you're going to need to make sure that it's glued all the way round correctly. If you don't, you're going to get light spillage from going through the vents at the back. It just looks a bit crap, or the lights under the keys is going to be uneven, and look, it's just going to look crap. So make sure that you take your time when putting the back sheet on as well when we get to that part. Cool. Let me just double check this. There's a bit of plastic. Oh no, a bit of rubber off something. Make sure you got all the screws before you attempt the next part. I've missed a screw right there. And go around again. Have I missed any screws? I don't believe I have. No. Okay. Now we need to defeat the metal rivets. So, get a finger underneath one part of it and just pull. Just start pulling. And the metal rivets will come off. Just be careful. Obviously you've got your screen under here as well. If you are worried about damaging the screen, you know what, you can just take out these hinges here. And I'd probably advise that you would to take it out. The reason being, these screens cost a lot more money than probably what they should do. I'm going to take mine off actually, just to show you guys how to do it. And because, to be honest, I don't want to be buying this customer a new screen. don't want to mess the screen up. And probably another reason why you should take the screen off as well is that all the dirt, all the crap from the keyboard is just going to come up and go onto the screen anyway. So let's just take that screen off. Seems to be the wisest, probably the best thing to do in this situation, especially because there's a lot of pressure going to be had on the getting this keyboard out, because as I say, we are literally going into the metal rivets. So make sure your Wi-Fi thing is done there. And lift your MacBook up and gently just take the screen out. Take the screen off, put it to one side, somewhere where it's not going to fall off or anything silly like that, and we're just left with a carcass here. We've literally got a trackpad and a keyboard which is going to come out. So you're going to see loads of metal bits flying around. Those are the rivets that I was speaking about. Just double check that you have removed the keyboard from the trackpad part. Metal rivets flying everywhere. Right, there we go. So that is your old keyboard there. If the keyboard keys are in any good nick, you could potentially sell those on eBay. Some people sometimes buy them. Or you could just sell it like this, shove it in a bag. If people need keys, they can just get their own keys off it, sell it as faulty. Right, I'm just going to get rid of all those little bits of metal rivets. And I'm going to clean the desk as well, because we've got metal rivets everywhere. Shove that in the bin, or sell it on eBay, whatever you want to do with it. I've even got metal rivets on my hand. Right. Okay, at this point, when your desk is clean again of all these stupid rivets, we can start to put in the new keyboard. Wherever it is I put the keyboard. Okay, so just line it up, plonk it in there, and now our old favourite, we're going to have to screw everything in again. So if you didn't bother to buy any more screws, you can probably just get away with going every other screw around the outside of the keyboard and then putting some more screws in the sort of center parts. Might need to change the screwdriver. I think it's a bit big for this purpose. I think I want a P00 and it should be a P000. Winging it a bit with this. Right. Let's do that. Either that or the tip's gone, which is another possibility. No, it's a 000. Tip size. Okay, so generally I like to start in the corners. You could just go all the way around. Right, continue the screwing. So that's it. You want to put enough screws down so that there's no problems when you're using the keyboard. You don't want the keyboard to suddenly fall through while using it. And I find generally every other screw point on here you can get away with, really, and it still holds quite well around the outside of the edge. So even though I've shaken this off, I'm still finding metal rivets around the case. Just do make sure that you get rid of them all before you put it all together. You don't want a metal rivets going onto your board, messing up your motherboard. Because then you'll have a board to repair as well as a keyboard. And just when you're sort of halfway through, just make sure that it's looking okay. That all your keys are coming up correctly through the holes. So that's all looking fine at the minute. Again, as I said before, there's no quick way to do this repair. It's just tedious manual labour. If you have an apprentice or something like that, this is the part where you give it to them. Or give the job to someone else in the company. Or leave it for the next shift to do. It's no fun at all, this. No fun at all. Okay, so we're sort of all the way around pretty much every other one, so we've got quite a few screws left. And basically these screws will go into the rivet holes, the holes that were left by the rivets. So just go around and make sure that the center of the keyboard is going to be held in correctly where the rivets were. Okay, so what I found here is that there's a remnant of a rivet that's been left in one of the holes. And it's actually pushing my keyboard out. Typical. Just there, we've got the remnants of a rivet. I can't push the keyboard over it. So all of this is going to have to come out. Brilliant. So yeah, basically before you screw it back down, make sure that there's no remnants of rivets, because you're going to have to take everything out again. Brilliant. And that's just going to make the job a whole lot worse. So yeah, if I haven't mentioned it already, I am live. And this is happening in pretty much real time. But these are the sort of mistakes that if you don't, you know, it's going to separate the good jobs from the bad jobs. If I left that on there, the customer's just going to, and give it back to the customer's going to come back and say, why have you given me a keyboard like that? It's not sitting straight. You know, we want to be giving customers good products that look exactly kind of how they did when they came in. We don't want to be giving them crap that comes back. To us and gives us a load of aggro. We might as well get it right first time, even if it seems like a pain. Okay, so let's see where we were. So there's this bit here that was causing the problem. There's also one there as well. Just a little hard bit where sort of rivet, it just wasn't pushing through correctly. Okay, it might have just been an alignment issue, because I've actually managed, once I've undone all the screws, that seems to be okay. So yeah. Yeah, it does seem to be that it was an alignment issue. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put some screws down there where I had the problem, where it wasn't particularly aligning very well, just to make sure that when I'm screwing around the outside, we're not getting any further problems with the little metal bits not aligning to anything. And pushing the keyboard back from the keys back from the palm rest. So yeah, just be aware of that. It's obviously cost me a good 5-10 minutes or something like that, just because I haven't been careful in aligning the keyboard up correctly. So yeah, make sure it's all flat. Make sure your keys are coming up correctly when you're pressing it through, and you should be good. Okay, let's do all that again. It's been a while since I've done one of these actually. It is an older model, again MacBook Air. There's little things like that that sort of make the difference. That's it. If I left that in there and I knew about it, it would absolutely bug me as well. So it's not just you know, for the customer, it's for me as well, my peace of mind, that I'm not worrying about a repair coming back because it's not, you know, done to the best ability. And that's it. If someone knowingly let that go, it's going to be karma. It's going to come back and bite you. The customer's going to come back angry. And you're only just going to have to redo everything anyway, so you might as well catch it. If you've caught it in the early stages, do go back and get it. It's easier than having to put all of the battery on, the speakers on, the motherboard on, only to have to take all that crap out again and redo it when you've put it all back together. So yeah, I'd rather undo a few screws now than have to go back later when everything else is on. Even though it is very annoying to have to do. Get off. So, in other news, I see that Lewis Rosman has gone past 300,000 subscribers. Congratulations to him. I think when I first started watching him, he had 40,000. Absolutely amazing, the sort of success that he's had. From YouTube. I think his channel now, if you look at it through Social Blade, is earning more than Eli the Computer Guy's channel. Which is absolutely amazing. He's kind of overtaken him, I think, in terms of YouTube earnings. I mean, I don't know the exact figures, but it does appear to be like that. Even though Eli has a lot more subscribers, in terms of revenue and views, Lewis is absolutely whooping him. And it's interesting how Eli's gone back to his kind of failed normal thing as well. I did a video about a year ago about him. He went back to doing Eli the Computer Guy. He did failed normal for about a year, and then he basically just quit doing that and went straight back to doing Eli the Computer Guy. His reasoning was that he was after the gold play button, or the wife was, I think, on his main channel, because he was about 800, maybe 750,000 subscribers. So he was going for the gold play button. Is it gold or is it diamond? Something like that. Platinum, maybe. So yeah, he was going after that. Then it took him a year, and now he's just decided to go back to doing failed normal again. He seemed to go in like yearly cycles, does Eli. You know what? Whatever makes him happy. If tech just isn't floating his boat, whatever. He's a fairly interesting guy. He's, you know, he comes across with some good points. Yeah, although he does come across quite arrogant sometimes. You know, the points that he does make are all correct, you know, as far as business decisions, etc., etc. You know, he does know what he's talking about. Okay, we're nearing the end of the Screw Saga. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm just making sure that I've got enough screws in so that I'm covered. You know, there's not going to be like any large gaping holes. Where if I press a key, the whole keyboard's going to fall out, or it's going to give an unnecessary flex, as it were. As I said before, you don't need to have a screw in every hole on the bottom of this keyboard for it to function correctly. You can be fairly liberal with your screws if you want it to be. I'm going to use all of the original screws. I'm just not going to put them all in the same places as what they were originally in. And as I say, you know, generally this holds the keyboard upright and it doesn't allow a lot of flex. As I say, you can generally get away with about every other screw around the outside. So, right, let's just have a quick look. Quite happy with that. Doesn't give any particular flex anywhere stupid. They're all pushed up through correctly. I'm happy. And the next part, next thing we should do actually is just really double check that there are none of those rivets hiding anywhere before we continue on our journey. I don't see any. Might be a few on my desk, but let's just move those out of the way. Right, so we're onto the back sheet. Again, this is can be a tricky job. to do correctly. So what you want to do, line it up, and this comes with some adhesive tape on it, so we're going to get to the adhesion bit, and you want to make sure that your adhesive tape is down well. That's it. If it's not sticking down right, you're going to get bleed, light bleed out the side, out the vents, and it's just not going to look good at all. So the adhesive on this doesn't seem to be very good. I'm probably going to have to put some more on. We'll put it down anyway. If I need to readjust, if I need to adjust it, that's fine, we'll do that. So make sure that you are aligning it correctly. There are screw holes. Make sure you're not putting it over anything that needs to be there, like your little flex cable there. Let's go around, literally make sure that this is sticking down correctly. And as I say, you want it to stick down really well to stop any bleed, light bleed into the vents or anywhere else for that matter, so you get a nice even backlit keyboard. And again, there are a few sticky uppy bits, which is a technical term from the keyboard, so make sure that you've make sure that your backlight strip is going over them correctly. What you may find is that your backlight sheet sticks to the little plastic bits. So yeah, we seem to have a little tab just at the top there that's not quite right. I'm just going to trim that slightly because that wasn't there on the original. This is obviously a third party part. It's not been done quite right. Right. So stick it down and make sure that it's stuck down good to avoid all the previously mentioned issues. Especially along this back section here, where if you don't, it will bleed into the to the fan, into the outlet, the air outlet. Cool. So then, now what we want to do, we need to reassemble and shove everything back where it was. So let's put the DC in board in. And that will connect to there for that little flex, and that was held in by a screw. Let's put this flex cable back in here. From the trackpad, let's put our speaker back in. So you should find that the adhesive on the speakers is pretty good and pretty solid. If you're not finding that, please re-glue it. But I always find that they seem to stick back down just fine. Okay. Just found what looks like a sesame seed. Stuck in there. Right. And again, let's just put our screen back on, which we took off earlier, making sure we get all of the cables back in. So I'm just doing the hinges now for the screen. I have to hold it at a bit of a funny angle, which is why it's off camera. And let's just shut that so we can bring it back into view. And we can reroute this this Wi-Fi cable here. There's a nice little run for it, just the back. Cool, and we can reattach the speaker cable just running up onto this DC inboard. And it's battery time. let's put the battery back in. In fact, before we do that, we need to actually plumb in our keyboard. So this cable here goes underneath, back in on itself, and into the slot that is on the trackpad. And just goes in nicely there. And time to get the battery. Here we go. Make sure we're not covering anything that needs to be visible. So there is obviously the orangey cable there that we need, and if you just plonk it straight down onto it, the battery will cover it. Make sure that you have it kept it there. And next is a motherboard. Obviously we need to screw the battery down as well. I'm just going to keep it loose for now because I want to test, make sure that the keyboard is functioning correctly. So you know, you're okay to, I would even recommend that you keep it loose to start off with, because if something's not quite right, you haven't screwed something incorrectly on the keyboard's not functioning, you don't want to have to undo everything again. So let's put the backlight in. So yeah, I'm not quite sitting correctly there. So yeah, there are lots of cables to make sure that you've got in correctly before you put it down. There's obviously the trackpad, keyboard connector, backlight connector, power connector for the battery, and the speaker connector right there. That can go in there. And we also need to make sure that we got that out there. And the power connector there. Trapped cable in there as well. So basically just connect everything up quite loosely, just for testing purposes. Connect your display cable. Make sure that the flat part of it is on the right side and you're not trapping it. There we go. Might as well connect to the Wi-Fi connectors as well. Just so that they're not flapping around, causing any short circuits in the board. Oh, I always find these so fiddly. There we go. Whew. And just the backlight connector and the trackpad connector to put in. Where's the tweezers? So backlight one in, flex cable in there, and then trackpad one in there. Okay, and let's just put our fan in as well. Just to make sure that we've got, we know that when we've got power rails, etc., etc., if we do run into any problems, so yeah, make sure that if you do it this way, make sure that anything loose is connected correctly. Obviously, I'm going to connect the power connector and then turn it on, test the keyboard, make sure that everything is working as it should do, and then I will just screw it all back together again, test it again, and that will be job done. So as you can see, you need a good hour, probably an hour and 20, maybe an hour and a half if this job is new to you. It is fiddly, it is annoying, and there is no quick way to do it. So yeah, charge accordingly when you're quoting your customers for this job. We've also got that cable there to do, haven't we? There's a cable that runs from that board DC into to main board, wherever I put that. Yeah, must be that way around. That's it, just do a quick check, sanity check as it were, before you put these things back together again. Make sure that all the cables are in properly, correctly. That's obviously not in correctly, but I'm only just going to test this. So, right, I'm going to leave you there. I'm going to test it now. And we'll call it that for today's stream. If you want to leave us a tip, please see the description below. If this has helped you in any way, as I say, the tip would be massively appreciated. And we will see you guys on the next stream. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Matt from XL Pro Tech. Bye bye for now.